All right, so up 1,075 bucks for the day. Most of the trades are closed. I'll talk about this book in a minute, by the way. I recommend that to people if they want to get involved and get started. But anyway, a lot of these trades were S&P futures contracts, options on them actually, and there's a reason why. I mean, I took a couple of other plays as well. I'm usually looking at a lot of charts, right? But as far as like the S&P, we had a really important low, some nice support at about 550 in the morning. Never revisited that, we just kind of floated up ever since. And usually when the market opens, you see all the volume come in. We got a reprieve from that bad news that came out from China last night. So a lot of this is just intuition because I've been watching and following these markets for years. So I have a lot of confidence taking these kind of plays, which, obviously the first half hour of the day made out pretty well. Anyway, the book, How to Day Trade for a Living. This is what I recommend if you guys want to get started. But bear in mind, it's going to take at least 1 to 2 years of being in the market every day to start making money. One thing I want to emphasize, by the way, it's you got to be very, very serious about it if you want to do it. Like, I'd recommend most people just invest, find a solid investment, park their money, let it grow over time, or even swing trade where you give yourself a much higher chance and probability. But when you're in and out every day, there's a lot of risk. There's a reason why 95% of people fail. However, if you are very committed and you're watching the market all the time, you're studying this stuff, like I mentioned, books like this will kind of give you a nice head start and to put you in the right direction on the right path. But unless you're in the markets every day, you're not going to build that intuition. You're not going to have that confidence to take certain trades because if you haven't seen them play out several times, it's very hard to hit that button, especially when you've gotten burned on trades. So what I'm going to do basically with the content I put out, I'm just going to give it realistic, man, a realistic expectation. So, a lot of action happens in the first 2 hours when the market's open, even the first 30 minutes. Some people, their whole day is 30 minutes, and they try to sell you that dream. Somebody's on a laptop on the beach. Oh, I work 30 minutes a day, and I make hundreds of thousands of dollars a year. Technically that's kind of possible, but I wouldn't necessarily say they only work a half hour. Like, even if I'm done trading today, I'm still going to be in front of that computer all day, seeing if there's anything else setting up, but basically studying the charts, watching the charts, and then other things as well. So I'm still working even if I'm not in a trade. So, people, again, they try to sell you the dream. Work 1 hour a day, But realistically, you may trade for an hour, but the rest of the time the market's open for the next, 6 hours or whatever, you're studying and watching stuff in real time. It almost reminds me of that stat. Like whenever Mayweather used to have a fight, for example, and he'd make, tens of millions of dollars, they say, oh, he's making $1 million every 30 seconds. It's like yes and no. I mean, for him to get up to that level and to be in the boxing gym every day, all day for decades, and then all the being smart with the promotion and all that stuff. I mean, that's why he ends up technically when he's in the fight making $1 million every 30 seconds. But there's so much other time and everything else that went on before that. So I'm sure in his head, he doesn't see him making $1 million every 30 seconds, He made it such a huge investment in himself and put in, like I said, decades, before that ever happened. So similar thing with trading. Years of studying, probably blow up a few accounts. Everyone who's traded, if they haven't blown up accounts, they're fucking lying. I'm telling you. But the main thing you want to do is try to be as consistent as possible. Now, obviously, not every trade is a winning trade. You're lucky to hit 70% of winning trades. Not every day is a winning day. Not every week's a winning week. Not every month is a winning month. So imagine working and actually not making any money or even losing money for the month, So that could be very hard, but you got to look at the year. A lot of traders might have 3 really, really good months in the year, and that can offset flat months or even some losses or, very small gains in the month. So it's all about consistency. I mean, the way the math works, if you average, because there's about 252 trading days during the year, and if you average $400 a day, that's $100,000 a year, which most people are pretty happy with, depending on where you live in the country. If you're doing $1,000 a day, that's $250,000 a year. Now, the big target, and some people shoot above that, the big target, $4,000 a day on average, you're making $1 million a year, which is actually possible. See, one thing you can do, for example, like if you're not actively in a trade, and you're looking for opportunities. So a lot of it is looking for opportunities. You could go to NASDAQ.com and check out the most active stuff. Well, obviously, NVIDIA is very active today. I mean, you know, it was down quite a bit because of that news from China. But look at, you know, there might be some other symbols that you're not really aware of that could have a lot of opportunities. So you'd want to pull up the chart, start the higher time frames daily, work your way down to like 4 hour, and then down to 15 minutes. But anyway, you could see the most active by share volume, the stocks that advanced the most, the stocks that declined the most, and then the most active by dollar volume, because you need a lot of liquidity if you're day trading. You want stuff to actually move. So even though you may not have any setups today with these could be setups because they're on your radar that you would trade tomorrow.